Hello, I'm Eric Snodgrass, and thank you for watching this weekly Ag Weather Update brought to you by the Farm Credit Associations of North Carolina. What I want to show you first is the last couple of weeks here in terms of precipitation expresses a percent of normal. Now, of course, we are still feeling the impacts of Hurricane Ida that went right in through this particular area, but what you'll notice is from parts of Virginia through most of North and South Carolina, the last 2 weeks has been quite dry. A couple things to think about. We've had quite a bit of rainfall return to the northern plains of the United States, the upper Midwest, the western Corn Belt. And yes, this is improving the condition of the crop in that area, but a lot of this rain was way too late to really improve the corn and soybean crop here. But some recent rains in parts of Kansas, this is really going to help for winter wheat planting in this area. Although as you get down into parts of Oklahoma and Texas, it's also been quite dry in those particular areas. So with this kind of national perspective on the way things look, what I'm going to do first in this video is discuss some of the long-range forecast data that just came out. And we're going to start here with the main pattern drivers over our next month and a half. Now, the first map you're looking at shows you surface pressure, okay? And we're looking at anomalous pressure in color shading. And what I want to point out is this line right here. This is the 1,016 millibar line, as forecast between now and about October 6th. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to slide this forward, a 1 month sliding window. So you can see it now goes from September 7th to October 7th, and we just keep going forward day by day. And what happens by the time we look out here at this 30-day time period, let's just stop it right here, September 15 to October 15, is we've now brought in a contour line kind of sitting here on the Appalachian Mountains to the northeast of 1,020 millibars. And you can see that 1,016 millibar line has really just opened up and pressed farther to the west. What I'm seeing here in the forecast is the building in of the subtropical ridge closer and closer to the east coast of the United States. And with the drier weather we just experienced, we wonder if this is going to continue into the foreseeable future as we approach the end of summer and start fall. So let's just leave it here, the 15th of September to the 15th of October, and look at that same 30 days expresses a percent of normal expresses a precipitation anomaly, so a difference from normal. And again, we continue to see a broad area in through here of below normal precipitation. It would suggest that higher than normal pressure builds in, and the flow will come around this anomalously, spreading the heavier rains into this area. Something else to take note of. Early season arrival of wetter conditions in the Pacific Northwest, which we do know there are certainly crops in the Northwest that we're in competition with. This could also mean an excellent start to the winter wheat production here in the southern plains. But what I see out here in the forecast is a higher probability of drier conditions moving forward from now through about mid-October. What about the temperature pattern in that same time period? Well, let's go take a look here. It's mild. The jet stream pattern is pretty far to the north and is expected to stay through the Canadian prairie and in the northern plains of the United States and not dip any significantly deep troughs into the eastern part of the United States that could really upset the temperature pattern over this time period. Now remember, it's early fall. We expect a lot of frontal boundaries to slice through. That's normal for this time of year. But I think when we average the next 30 to 45 days, we're going to be seeing that on average, we're going to carry a warm bias. Now from there, let's just go ahead and keep looking out as far as we can. Much of the long-range forecast is going to be driven by these ocean temperatures. And I want you to take note of the fact there's very warm water here in the North Pacific. And we're watching the redevelopment of this La Nina right into this particular area here. Lately, the trade winds have picked back up. That's what we want to see if a La Nina is going to develop. And the latest long-range forecasts are projecting that through this fall and winter, we're going to see a La Nina pattern develop and probably be the more dominant pattern governing the fluid motion of the atmosphere through fall and winter. But this is not going to be as strong as it was a year ago. We're also going to get some help from the Indian Ocean, where we do expect stronger winds coming out of the west to east here and give us a lot of rising motion over Australia and Indonesia. Now, the net effect of that is to influence the pattern in both North and South America, and we're going to talk about both here. So first, let's look at the October, November, December precipitation pattern from the European seasonal model. Now, this is very typical of La Nina. Drier conditions here, wetter in the Pacific Northwest. I mean, this is almost La Nina to the T for early winter or late fall. This does mean that we could continue to see drier conditions compared to normal during that time. Now, of course, this would be the end of the hurricane season, and there's always that wild card of tropical systems, and I'm going to show you those and discuss them in just a few moments here. But outside of that, this is what the forecast holds. Now, what about the temperatures during that time period? Let's go take a look at this. We continue to favor mild conditions. All right. Now, let's slide forward and get into November, December, January, and then how about just December, January, February? That would be what our primary winter looks like. And you see the warmer conditions forecast here with cooler air coming in like this. This is almost just like a copy of what we had forecast for last winter. And while it didn't pan out exactly as expected, this is La Nina to the T. I mean, I could take this out of this and put it right in a textbook and say this is what you should expect if La Nina develops. And on the precipitation side of it, this is what you end up getting. Active Ohio River Valley storm track, drier along the coast, drier in the southern plains, drier in California, wetter here. I mean, that is what La Ninas tend to give us. Now, thinking about all of this, and I know we're going to be putting a lot of focus here on South America, let's go back and just look at that. So I'm going to flip down to South America, switch this back over to Precip, and tell you that they're allowed to start planting here on September 15. And we do see drier conditions there, but much wetter the farther east we go. It's dry in southern Brazil and dry in Argentina. The question is this rainfall going to cause a delay in the start of planting? They need about 2 to 3 inches of rain before they really get cranking on planting in Brazil. And with the wetter conditions to the east and to the south, in like Mato Grosso do Sul and into Paraná, the question is how much of a delay, if any, will there be? That's the first part of this. Then as we go forward, let's look at that same December, January, February timeframe for South America. And the models have really kind of almost bifurcated, split in half the precip pattern, keeping it drier south and in Argentina and wetter to the north here. Now, remember, about 40% of the total productivity out of South America is inside this oval that I have drawn here. And the remainder is in the north. And so we're going to watch this carefully because this is also what La Ninas typically deliver. Midsummer for them, midwinter for us. So I'm going to watch all of this and just keep you informed about how these changes are going to take place. In the near term, though, we are watching a couple of systems here in terms of our hurricane issues. And we're going to watch Larry move just like this up towards Newfoundland. We have a tropical system here. In fact, let's just zoom back out and take a closer look at that. And over our next 5 days, what we end up seeing is there is a risk, about a 30% chance of that developing and pushing over toward Florida. But this isn't really going to be too much, but it will bring some precip toward us, and I want to talk about that. But Larry, as I told you, is going to stay out to open ocean, and you can see the latest forecast track here. While it's going to be a relatively strong hurricane, keeps it out to sea. Behind it, I mean, take a look at this satellite animation. I just don't see anything coming off of Africa or really bubbling up here in the Caribbean, which is not that great of a place to get tropical development this year. And even the tropical thunderstorms that are here coming out of the Bay of Campeche, see that? This is really going to struggle to develop much beyond this as it moves toward Florida and brings us some rain. So Larry's the main show, and it's going to stay out to open ocean here in the near term. So if we just look at the next 7 days, the precipitation that we get here along the coast, which we're not looking at much, maybe a 1/2 inch to 3/4 of an inch of rainfall, is going to be coming from a low that's coming out of Ontario, cutting into the northeast, dragging a front through. And then this tropical disturbance that's going to run just like this. So let's go have a look at both of those things. High-res NAM from this morning. Let's play this on through to Tuesday midday. Got scattered showers midday in pockets. This is not much. And then as we play through, this is getting to Tuesday night, working our way into Wednesday morning, Wednesday afternoon, and evening. Now we start to see it. There's the main frontal boundary, increasing our chances for storms Wednesday evening. Right now, some of these storms could be strong, but there's not a great threat for severe weather here. And then here's that tropical impulse, and you're going to watch in the overnight hours on Wednesday, getting to Thursday morning, that could move here right along the coast. But after that, I mean, just take a look at this. The European model says, here we go, Tuesday, Wednesday, that front passes by Thursday, and then you'll see high pressure builds into my home state of Illinois, and it just sits there Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. I mean, I'm all the way out here to next Wednesday, the 15th. And the models, we're way out here in kind of what we call la-la land with the models, but they're trying to bring another front through. But 10 days, you put it all together, and this is what you've got. Compared to normal, we're drier. We're looking at a drier overall next 10 days. Doesn't mean no precipitation. It just means drier overall. How long does that last? Well, here's the week 2 pattern, starting at day 10, moving forward. You see that the deepest troughs as we go out toward the 21st, 22nd of the month, they're tucked away in the Gulf of Alaska. We just generally have in the models flat, almost zonal flow with no real well-defined features. So the models won't pick up on major precipitation anomalies. There's another pulse of tropical moisture, but that's going toward Texas. So we do see that the models are really not forecasting major deviations from normal as we look out there to week 2 in the Carolinas. So from there, let's talk temperatures, because over the last 30 days, we've been mild compared to normal, slight warm bias. But other than that, it's been pretty darn close to a normal late summer for us. Well, as we go forward in these temperatures, let's blow this up so you can see a little bit better. Today, we're looking at mid-80s, but we do have some cooler weather coming through. Watch the front slide through Wednesday. Here it is on Thursday, low 80s. Getting into Friday, normal temperatures, again, low 80s. And then as we get out there towards Saturday, Sunday, and Mondays, the high pressure builds in, and that ridge opens up. It goes back over to highs, somewhere in the mid to upper 80s, with some places cracking 90. And then what you see is looking out there a little farther, day 5 through 10, we are going to favor a warmer than normal bias moving forward. This would be getting us out there, past about the middle of the month. And then going here into week 3, you continue to see above normal temperatures. So what we see here in this forecast pattern is favoring drier and warmer conditions overall as we press forward. And what I want to be watching most carefully is the movement of that Bermuda high, because ultimately, if I come back to the beginning, if we continue to encroach that Bermuda high here in the Carolinas, we'll look at a drier fall weather pattern moving forward. So in the absence of any big tropical systems, this seems to be what we've got. I'll wrap it up here, and we'll bring you another update next week. Thanks.